Hello, so you might be a bit surprised as to why this is our Valentine's box. But the reason for that is we actually don't deliver on Mondays, and Valentine's Day is actually the 14th of February, and that's Monday next week. And there's a lot of logic to that, and basically the reason is that all of our farmers, they tend to cut on a Sunday and a Monday. So if you, for instance, were to buy flowers on a Monday, the chances are they've been cut of the Sunday of the Monday of the previous week. So they're already over a week old by the time you buy them. And not many people know that, but it's actually kind of pretty consistent across the industry. So that is the rationale as to why we don't deliver anywhere on a Monday, because technically we would have to buy the flowers the week before and keep them in a cooler all week, and then deliver them to you on that Monday. So they're already really, really old by the time you get them. So based on that, we're celebrating Valentine's Day this week. And you know me, I'm not really one for like red roses. Personally, I think I like a bit more of a sophisticated palette. So we've got a few things going on. We've got the yellow acacia, so it's still going. And I thought, what a nice kind of subtle color reference. And obviously it's super local and is, you know, it's synonymous with women and supporting women. And given that we're so cool and amazing, I thought that that would be perfect for our bouquet this week. And then we have some wax flower. We have an Empress Protea. We have ranunculus and roses, and we have some guneye eucalyptus. So we're gonna start with the guneye eucalyptus first, and it's really branchy. So we're just gonna cut these big branches into smaller branches, strip off any of the greenery that falls below the waterline. Oh, this is a nice long piece. I've got quite a short vase, so I'm actually cut that into 2 pieces. This is an ugly piece, but we might be able to use it at the back somewhere. So I know that a few of you following this video might not have our deliveries regularly, because Valentine's week tends to be like a big gifting week for us. So the guneye eucalyptus is actually grown in San Diego. It's from a farmer called Frank, who we love, and it has a really fresh fragrance to it. You can probably smell it, but it's not sticky like some varieties of eucalyptus can be. So I love it because it's also, the color right now is variegating, so it's not a super green, but it has like browns to it, yellows, greens, sage greens, just depending on the cut that you have. So I think that adds like a natural authenticity to the arrangement, because it's kind of nice to have like a bit of variegation of color that is truly seasonal. And a lot of people ask, they're like, how do you choose the arrangements, because every week it's so different? And I'm like, well, it's actually really easy because it's dictated by what's in season. And because a lot of what we use, you'd be surprised how quickly it can go in and out of season. And so it's really difficult for us to plan far ahead. In fact, that's Matt's biggest issue with me, because he's like, you know, we really need to be deciding on the arrangements further in advance. And I'm like, well, every time I try and do that, we have to change it, because what I'd planned to use is no longer available. So you really can't, honestly, manage the business that way. So we are gonna add the yellow acacia. So you'll have a couple of pieces of that. And you see, like, some of it is this more puffy yellow, and some of it's more of a dried mustard yellow. That's really normal for acacia at this time of year. And the problem is you do want a blend of that, because this puffy yellow sometimes can shed and it gets everywhere, and we don't want that. So we are quite careful with the stage it is and when we kind of work with the farmer to use it, because if you wait for it for too long, it absorbs far too much water and it just can shed all over the house. Great. So this is the Empress Protea, and as you know, we only have a limited amount of these. They are huge, you can see, and they grow up in Oceanside, California. so actually down, Southern California. They have the most incredible heads to them, and they open up and it'll last for like 2 or 3 weeks. So you'll get a really long lifespan out of this. So you'll notice it's got so much greenery on it and a really thick stem. So really, truly, you can keep some of the greenery on, but I would definitely recommend, and it can get a bit messy because there's obviously soil in between, but I would for sure recommend like cutting off. You can pull it too, like this. Let's see. Yeah. And then again, around the boom. So you can keep some around the perimeter, but the ones immediately around the head, you do want to make sure you pull those off. And then obviously these are growing standard. The stems of these proteas is huge, and that's just because they've got such a big flower at the top. So what I suggest doing, if your cutters won't cut through, is you can snap it, like so, and then you can cut around it just to clean the stem up, like that. So with the wax flower, you kind of want to cut the smaller pieces off the bigger pieces, and it is a filler, so we want to use it to kind of fill the arrangement. It adds like a really nice dose of color, and just kind of add it in and around. Got some pieces here, in and around. Like that. Lovely. Put it at the sides. It doesn't really need water, honestly. It lasts for ages. It has, like, obviously the name suggests, like a waxy texture to it, so it's quite moist. It will shed though as it dries out, so it'll probably last for about 2 weeks before that starts to happen. Like that. So I'm going to kind of add the ranunculus, and by the way, the ranunculus, you might have ones, I don't have any here, but that have kind of leaves on the side, and I'd suggest cleaning up the stems so they're completely clean. They do have these floppy heads and they're very top heavy, so be careful when managing them. But as you cut them and put them in water, they do stiffen up a lot and they last for a really good amount of time. So I do think it looks good to always put one of our focal flowers like at the front of the arrangement. And then you can add the secondary flowers, so the roses, behind that. Like that. I'll put one here. Pull off the outer petals of the roses too. Let's see. Piece, I'm going to put back in a minute. So this ranunculus is probably a little bit long. I'm going to cut it down to a minute. Really nest it below. And then does that look here? That's it. Add the wax flower in. And then we have some ranunculus left. So it's kind of entirely up to you. They kind of bend in their own way. My recommendation on that is just to always go with the flow, like absorb, kind of embrace the natural bend of the flower, because you can't really manipulate these to go a certain way, but you do have 3 of them, so you should be able to kind of use the ones that are kind of leaning towards the right to put them on the right side, and any that are kind of sticking up straight you can use to put above the rim of the vase. And if you find that it's just not staying where you want, then just cut it down a little bit more and then add it in. I'm wrestling with this one. as you can see. I don't want to go in. And there we go. So enjoy this one. You'll get a lot of life out of it. The Empress Protea will keep opening and opening and opening over the course of the next few weeks. So really watch that one and enjoy it, and just have an appreciation of nature and in all of its beauty. And I just want to thank everybody on one of our biggest weeks of the year for all of your support.